everybody, this is Clint Hajar with Brandman University, Science 302 online. This is my assistant, Angie. She's a second grader, and she helped draw some of these images. Okay, this is about the life cycle of a pine tree and a fruit tree. And first we're going to start with the with the pine tree, sorry. Okay, so she drew our pine tree. A pine tree is a conifer, which means that it's a tree with cones and needle-like leaves. These make a great source of softwood, resins, and turpentine, which are essential oils and adhesives. Pine trees are monoecious, which means that they produce both male and female. Which means that they produce both male and female cones, and when the wind blows, the male cones have pollen, and that pollen gets blown up into the female cones, which attaches itself between the scales, and it'll reach the megaspore, which is the female gamete. It'll get into the ovule, and that'll initiate the fertilization. As the pine cone, as the seeds grow, the pine cone starts to open, and then after a certain point, it'll fall down to the ground, and that's due to gravity. After it falls to the ground, many animals, deer, even dogs, will all eat pine cones, and then they'll transport it via their bowel movement to a different area where the seed could potentially grow. Next up, we have our fruit tree. The fruit trees, they're angiosperms, and angiosperms are those are flowers that get pollinated through pollinators, which are bees, birds, bats, and even the non-living things such as the wind. What happens is the pollen from the stamen of the male flower gets transferred to the pistil of the female flower. When bees feed, they rub up against the anther of the stamen, and when they go to feed on another flower that has female reproductive organs, such as the pistil, they brush up against the pistil's stigma. Once they do that, they begin to that's what initiates the fertilization. After the flower gets bigger, like here, the pumpkin got so big and heavy that it fell to the ground. This is again due to a non-living force, which is gravity, and it comes down to the ground. For transportation, it may have a carrier, such as a living organism like this pig, who might eat this pumpkin and then transport the seeds via fecal matter to somewhere else. This here shows an image of our life cycle of a pumpkin with the seed, sprout, vine, flower, pumpkin. So, again on the pine cone, we have the ovary. This is on the pine cone. This here's the stigma. Actually, I think this works for all of them. Pollen grains get they attach to the stigma. These are pollen grains. This is the stigma. And then when that happens, the pollen grain develops a pollen tube, which goes down into the ovules, depositing the sperm into the ovule. This whole thing will then later begin to grow, and this ovary will become a fruit. So that's more or less the case with both pine tree and the fruit tree. So we'd like to thank our second grader, Angie, and hope everybody liked it. Watch some of our other videos on YouTube. It's all under Clint Hajar, Hajjar. Thank you.